All right, what's going on, guys? So it's gonna be a really quick video on the Sunday watch list. I'm gonna cover some of the setups I have for the week, some of the things you need to pay attention to, and let's get started off with SPY, right? So I already have everything charted. This 444 level is gonna be a level I'm gonna be paying attention to for a break and retest, potentially back up to this 448, 450 level. As you guys can see, if I scroll all the way back, that 450 to 448 level is very well respected as a supply zone from back here. As you guys can see, when we get to this level, we catch a big sell-off back to the downside, right? Back over here, we get a rejection. And when we're above this level, we catch a bounce back to the upside, right? So that is definitely a level to pay attention to. If we can show any type of strength above that 450 level, then we have room up to this 454 level, and then this 458 level, which is another pretty important level to pay attention to. As you guys can see, we do have a lot of reactions off of it as we sell off from that level. So those are levels I'll pay attention to. If we get some upside, potential reject around this 452. It just depends how we get up there, right? So reading price actions would be very important at those levels. So breaking retest above 444, room up to those levels. If we get a pullback, I'm gonna pay attention to this 440 level or this 438, 439 level. As you guys can see, this 438, 439 level was a previous resistance support back here, and this 440 was a previous support back here. So we can hold it, anywhere near this trend line touch. If this trend line hold touches, that will be a higher low, and we should get a push back to the upside. So anything to the downside, I'm not really too interested. Yeah, I'm not really too interested on moves to the downside unless there's a short-term play to the downside that I have listed out here. If we break below 442, we can catch it at 440. But I mean, I'm gonna look for a little bit of a better setups. As far as QQQ, I do like QQ as the levels seem a little bit clearer. This 372 is a big resistance. You guys can see from back here. It's a lot clearer on Qs. As you guys can see, we get rejected here once. Big rejection back to the downside. Twice, 3 times off that 372 level. And then we rejected again on Friday, June 16th. Big sell-off back to the downside. Here we are recovering back to that area. If we can break and retest that area, we have room back up to 375, 377. As you guys can see, last time we broke those levels, we see 375 and we see 377, really 380. So if we can reclaim that level, that would be nice. But if we do pull up to that level with not so much strength, we pull up very weak and see any type of bearish reactions here, it's a good reject level. As you guys can see, the previous reactions that we've gotten there in the past. So that is a level to pay attention to for a potential reject or a potential break and retest. For pullbacks and bounces, I'll probably pay attention to this 367, 366, 67. The reason why is because it was a previous inverse head and shoulders, as you guys can see. This is the left shoulder. It's the head. We have the right shoulder here, and that's like the neckline area, right? So a retest of this neckline near that trend line as well could be a good area to pay attention to for a potential bounce. And then we could catch that back up to like this area, So that could be a good area if we pull back. Definitely levels to pay attention to. As far as the downside, not too interested unless we get below the trend line. Maybe like this 365, right? Back down to 362, 360. Other than that, individual tickers, Apple was really strong. We're basically at all-time highs. If we get a pullback to this 192, that could be a decent level to pick up the pullback off of. But we are at all-time highs. It's really hard to see what levels we could potentially go to since we don't have any resistances to look at above that. So it's going to be like a side watch for me. Main watch is going to be Meta as far as individual tickers. The reason why is because Meta has been in this range for almost more than a week now. June 16th to June 30th. Yeah, it's a pretty long time that we've been stuck in this range. Back and forth from 290 down to 278. Both of these levels get a big reaction. 278 demand, 290 supply. And what I really want to see is because on the weekly chart, we have that bullish hammer right near that supply zone. So if this bullish hammer can get above that That supply zone at 290. A break and retest above that should give us room to 295 and really 300. So that is a move that I really, really am paying attention to for the week. Meta, top watch for me for sure. NVDA, I like NVIDIA a lot as well. It was really strong last week. As you guys can see, this 420 level. Notice how we kept holding it back here, right? And then we flushed below it and we started using it as supply. Now we broke back above it, so now we can use it as demand again. So if we can hold that 420, that is a nice bounce area to really pay attention to for a potential move back up into this 427.72. As you guys can see, we got a big sell-off from 427.72. So we could catch a bounce from 420 to 427. That's a really, really good move on NVIDIA. And if it breaks 427, 92, then it has nothing but room back up to the recent highs at 433 and all-time highs at 439. That's a really good move that I will be paying attention to for this week. We also just broke out of an inverse head and shoulders here. So the neckline retest is around that 420 level. So if we can hold that, we should see more upside. So I'm looking at that level. It looks like a really, really good setup on NVIDIA. Other than that, so Meta, NVIDIA, let's look at Tesla, right? Tesla, the only thing that I will be interested for Tesla is if it continues to show strength above 265. As you guys can see, this 265 level here, we've been rejecting. So if we can get above that, we have room up to 266.86 and 269. And really above that, that 270 area, nothing but room up to these areas up here, 280s. So that's really, really interesting on Tesla. If it can show strength again, I'll keep an eye on that. The daily candle doesn't look the best, but if it shows strength above that, it should be good. You know, it could be a reject area as well. So pay attention. Make sure it fully breaks and retests if you are going to take this trade, because this is a rejection zone. So other than that, I like Netflix. Netflix on the weekly chart looks great. It has nothing but room above 450 to 458 and really like 480. So you see on the daily chart is a big gap fill above that 458. Has a gap fill up to 507. And it just looks like a good setup overall. You know, the weekly time frame looks good. The 9 and the 200 are about to cross as well. So I will be keeping an eye above that 448.78 to 458. Those are the main setups I'm gonna be covering. SPY cues, things to pay attention to. The market is closing early on Monday, and the market is closed on 4th of July. So I believe Pacific Standard Time, the market is closing at 11 or 10 a.m. I gotta double check. But when markets close Tuesday, 4th of July, Wednesday, FOMC minutes. FOMC minutes is definitely something you gotta pay attention to around 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Other than that, yeah, it's pretty much it for this video. I do not want to make it too long. Hopefully better setups present themselves throughout the week. And we'll see what we get. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And that's going to be it for this watch list.